Welcome to Hidden Reality, where we uncover the truths buried beneath the surface. When you think of Las Vegas, right, your mind immediately goes to the neon illusion. You know, the blinding lights, the endless entertainment, the wealth just practically pouring onto the streets. I mean, it's a city meticulously designed to be this blinding desert paradise. It's a place that actively distracts you from looking anywhere else. But today, in this explainer, we're going to look exactly where the city doesn't want you to. We're launching an intense investigation into a mystery that sits right beneath the feet of millions of totally unsuspecting tourists, an entirely unseen ecosystem governed by completely different laws of survival.
So let's just take a second and really look at this startling contrast. Up above ground, you've got the Nevada casino industry pulling in excess of $15 billion every single year. It's a world built on sheer decadence. But literally steps away, hidden right beneath the metal grates and concrete, is a staggering 200-mile underground labyrinth. It's this massive, sprawling network of storm drains running directly under those luxury hotels and packed boulevards. You can actually stand down there in the dark and hear the cars driving right over your head. It's a massive, secret world sitting directly underneath the ultimate symbol of American excess. And you might be wondering, just how deep does this secret world actually go? The answer is 7. Some of these tunnels plunge 7 whole floors down into the earth. And down in that damp, echoing darkness, there is an estimated population of about 1,500 people. They're commonly referred to as the mole people. These folks live in a state of complete deprivation, totally cut off from the sun. They're functioning in this massive underground city with its own neighborhoods, its own territories, and its own really grim rules. Section 1. The mystery, surviving the pitch black. Now, because police radios simply cannot penetrate this deep, this environment becomes a completely unregulated void. Literally anything can happen down there. And the sensory deprivation takes a profound psychological toll. Actually, one dweller described it perfectly. They said, darkness is not just the absence of light. It's like an entity that covers you and erases you from the world. Down there, the pitch black isn't just a physical condition, right? It becomes this heavy psychological weight. Dwellers who spend years in this environment report intense hallucinations, severe paranoia. They talk about shadows that suddenly drop the temperature, or entities that mimic the voices of people, calling their names from down the tunnel, and invisible forces moving their things around. The darkness literally alters the way these people think and behave. So how do you even move around in that? We naturally assume everyone just has flashlights, but that is a huge luxury many just don't possess. Some individuals have lived in this labyrinth for over 2.5 years without ever using a single flashlight. Instead, they navigate purely by memory, by touch. They learn the intricate layout of the tunnels just by running their hands along the cold, moldy, calcium-stained walls to find their way home. I mean, think about it. One wrong turn in the dark without a guide, and you are completely lost in an endless maze. And that brings us to the incredibly warped mechanics of daily survival in this underground reality. On the surface, cars rule the roads, obviously. But down here, bicycles are the ultimate hot commodity. They are absolutely essential for traversing the sprawling network, and people have literally been shot in the head over them. Above ground, luxury suites have pristine plumbing. Below, a toilet is nothing more than a 5-gallon bucket with a plastic bag. But the starkest difference? The hazards. The main danger down here isn't law enforcement, it's unseen violence. Overdoses happen so routinely that residents have to keep Narcan nasal spray on hand at all times. Territory is fiercely defended, sometimes with homemade Molotov cocktails or machetes. Extreme trauma just becomes completely normalized. Which leads into a deeply chilling physical reality, one that really cements the eerie atmosphere of this hidden reality investigation. People turn gray down here. That's a direct observation from those living in the tunnels. When human beings are totally deprived of sunlight for years on end, their bodies physically deteriorate. Their skin literally loses its color. And the heartbreaking part is, some people were even born into this darkness, destined to be ghosts haunting the foundations of a city that doesn't even know they exist.
Section 2. The climax. The invisible killer.
Now, the most terrifying threat down here isn't human at all. It's geographic. It could be a perfectly sunny, beautiful day on the Vegas Strip, right? But if a sudden rainstorm hits the mountains 15 miles away, a deadly chain reaction begins. Because the desert ground is incredibly hard and just cannot absorb moisture, that water has absolutely nowhere to soak in. So to prevent the luxurious surface streets from flooding, all of that rushing runoff is directed straight into the city's storm drains. This literally turns the exact tunnels these 1,500 people call home into deadly funnels. The truly terrifying element of this disaster is the sheer speed at which it unfolds. At 0 minutes, the water just begins rushing in, and there is absolutely no warning system. None. The only alarm is the echoing sound of the roaring water itself. Within just 10 minutes, the water level can surge to 8 feet high. Dwellers have a strict maximum of 20 minutes to escape. If you're deep in the labyrinth navigating by touch, outrunning this violent surge is nearly impossible. There's this chilling sign deep in the tunnels that someone painted, and it reads, "The current never loses." When the flood hits, it drags everything with it. Shopping carts, sewage, debris, massive trash piles. All of this floating debris creates deadly blockages, essentially trapping people inside. Every single time this sudden disaster strikes, people in this underground city lose their lives to drowning. They lose their friends, and they lose every single meager possession they've managed to scrape together. Section 3. The reflection. Trapped in the labyrinth. So after hearing all of this, the darkness, the violence, the terrifying floods, the obvious question you're probably asking is, why not just leave? Well, the truth is, the labyrinth is deeply bureaucratic. When you move into the tunnels, or even if you just have your luggage stolen on the streets above, your identification cards are inevitably lost or destroyed. And in our modern system, without an ID, you effectively cease to exist. You cannot legally apply for a job, you cannot secure housing, you can't even access most basic social services. This bureaucratic trap is just devastating. As one outreach worker noted, even if you handed out IDs to everyone down there today, the underlying traumas and mental health issues would still keep many of them trapped in the dark tomorrow. And the juxtaposition here is just a horrifying showcase of our reality. Up on the surface, tourists fueled by decadence and excess will buy a $3,000 Louis Vuitton item, get all excited over a slot machine payout, and literally abandon their luxury purchase on the floor just so they can go gamble more. Meanwhile, directly beneath their feet, dwellers are scavenging through dumpsters. They're making pans out of scrap aluminum and using squirts of hand sanitizer as an open flame heat source just to cook a discarded meal. It is extreme wealth constantly colliding with desperate scavenger survival. Which forces us to ask a deeply uncomfortable question. Could this hidden reality happen to anyone? Because it is incredibly easy to look at the mole people and just label them as undesirables or, distant outcasts. But when we strip away the neon lights and look at the actual data of the world we live in, the distance between that plush casino floor and the pitch-black tunnel is shockingly narrow. To put this into perspective, the data is sobering. Nearly 7 out of 10 Americans currently live paycheck to paycheck, barely making ends meet. The vast majority of our society is existing on a razor's edge right now. For so many people, it only takes one unexpected tragedy, a medical emergency, a lost job, maybe a profound personal loss, just one event to completely shatter their financial stability and send them spiraling totally out of the system. The people in these tunnels, they're a haunting mirror to our society. We investigated people who used to be ordinary family men, people who had children, who were retired, who lived in nice houses with swimming pools. But through a cascade of bad luck, grief, and a system that offers very little safety net, they slowly slipped beneath the cracks and found themselves seeking refuge in the dark. They are not just ghosts. They are a reflection of how fragile the American way of life can truly be. The neon lights of Vegas are designed to blind us, but the shadows beneath remind us of how easily anyone can slip into the dark. This mystery has been decoded by Hidden Reality. Subscribe to Hidden Reality for more deep dives into the unknown.